Why people suddenly start ignoring you, what it really means, my brothers and sisters. Have you ever experienced a time when people who once spoke to you with warmth and kindness suddenly started ignoring you? You greet them and they act as if they don't see you. You send a message and it remains unanswered. You wonder, what did I do wrong? This happens to all of us at some point in life. And it hurts, doesn't it? But let me remind you, whenever something happens, there is always wisdom behind it. Sometimes we focus so much on why people are ignoring us that we forget to ask, what is my Creator teaching me through this? The first thing to understand is that people's behavior is not always about you. Sometimes they are fighting their own battles. They could be struggling with something personal, overwhelmed with their own issues. Their silence is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of what they are going through. Other times, it is a lesson from the Almighty. Perhaps He is removing people from your life for a reason. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that He was protecting you. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people are there for a season. And when their time is up, they leave, sometimes without a word. My brothers and sisters, do not allow your heart to be burdened by the silence of others. When people ignore you, do not chase after them. Instead, turn to the one who never ignores you, who is always there for you, who responds even before you call. People will come and go, but your connection with your Creator is everlasting. And remember, your value does not decrease because someone fails to acknowledge it. Your worth is not defined by how others treat you, but by how you carry yourself. With dignity, with patience, and with the certainty that the Almighty is always by your side. There are moments in life when people suddenly start ignoring you, and naturally you begin to wonder why. You question yourself, thinking about what you might have done wrong. You replay conversations in your head, trying to pinpoint the exact moment when things changed. But sometimes the truth is that their behavior has nothing to do with you at all. It is a reflection of their own struggles, challenges, or internal conflicts. When people go silent or distant, it is easy to assume that we are the problem. This is because we naturally relate everything back to ourselves. We think, did I say something wrong? Did I offend them? Did I fail to meet their expectations? These thoughts start consuming us, making us feel anxious and unsettled. But in many cases, the real reason has nothing to do with us. It has to do with what they are going through. A person who is struggling emotionally may not have the energy to engage with others in the way they used to. They may be battling stress, sadness, or personal difficulties that they haven't shared with anyone. When someone is overwhelmed, they often withdraw. They stop responding to messages, avoid conversations, and become distant. Not because they dislike you, but because they are consumed by their own issues. Their silence is not a statement about you. It is a reflection of their inner turmoil. At times, people ignore others because they are experiencing a shift in their own priorities. Perhaps they are dealing with family issues, financial struggles, or work-related stress. Maybe they are trying to process something difficult and need space. In such cases, their withdrawal is not meant to hurt you, nor is it a sign that they have stopped caring about you. It is simply that their mind is occupied with something heavier than usual. There are also those who become distant because they feel ashamed of something in their own lives. They might be facing personal failures, guilt, or embarrassment. When a person feels unworthy or burdened by their mistakes, they sometimes pull away from the people they care about. They may fear judgment, or they may not know how to face others while carrying the weight of their own struggles. If someone who was once close to you is ignoring you, it could be that they are dealing with something they don't know how to talk about. Another reason people become distant is that they are searching for something within themselves. Life is a journey, and everyone is dealing with their own set of challenges. Some people go through phases where they isolate themselves to reflect, to heal, or to grow. They may be questioning their own purpose, struggling with self-doubt, or trying to figure out their next steps in life. During such times, they might not have the emotional capacity to be present for others. It is also possible that some individuals feel overwhelmed by relationships or social interactions. Not everyone expresses their struggles openly. Some people deal with anxiety or emotional exhaustion in ways that make them withdraw from even those they care about. Instead of seeing their silence as a rejection, it helps to recognize that they might be protecting their own mental well-being. Sometimes people's behavior changes because they are influenced by external circumstances. They may have heard something that affected how they see you, or they may be under pressure from someone else. But even in such cases, it is not necessarily a reflection of who you are. People react based on their own perspectives, their own experiences, and their own insecurities. Understanding this can save you from unnecessary pain. It can prevent you from overanalyzing situations that are not in your control. It can help you shift your perspective from self-blame to compassion. Instead of asking, why are they ignoring me? Perhaps the question should be, I wonder what they are going through. By looking at the situation this way, you free yourself from carrying the burden of someone else's. There are moments in life when people unexpectedly distance themselves from us, leaving us confused and sometimes even hurt. We wonder why someone who was once close to us has suddenly stopped talking, responding, or showing interest. We try to find reasons, questioning if we made a mistake or if we unknowingly hurt them. But sometimes what we fail to realize is that this distance is actually a form of divine protection. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people come as a test, some come as a lesson, and others are there for a limited time to serve a specific purpose. The Almighty, in His wisdom, knows what is best for you. He sees things you do not see and understands what is hidden from you. When He removes someone from your life, it is often because their presence is no longer good for you, even if you do not realize it at the moment. There are times when we grow attached to certain relationships, friendships, or connections, believing they are essential to our happiness. We invest in them emotionally, expecting them to last forever. But not every connection is meant to be permanent. Some people are only meant to be part of your journey for a short while, helping you grow in some way before they move on. Holding on to someone who is meant to leave can cause unnecessary pain and distraction. The Almighty knows what is in the hearts of people. While someone may appear kind and genuine, their intentions may not be pure. There could be things they say or do behind your back that you are unaware of. Perhaps they carry envy, resentment, or bad intentions toward you, and their presence could bring harm to your peace and success. When you do not see what is happening behind the scenes, He does. Removing such people from your life is His way of protecting you from harm that you cannot perceive. Sometimes losing people is part of your personal growth. The removal of certain individuals creates space for better opportunities, healthier relationships, and new beginnings. If you become too attached to the wrong people, you may never meet the right ones. When one door closes, it often means another door is about to open, even if it takes time to see it. The space left by someone who exits your life may eventually be filled by someone who is better for your journey. The separation from certain individuals can also serve as a test. It teaches patience, emotional strength, and reliance on the Almighty. When you experience loss, you are reminded that nothing in this world is permanent. People, situations, and circumstances will change, but He remains constant. The more you attach yourself to Him rather than to people, the less affected you become when someone leaves your life. There are also moments when people leave because they have fulfilled their purpose in your life. Perhaps they were there to guide you, teach you a lesson, or support you through a difficult time. Once their role is complete, they move on, sometimes without explanation. It is not always about something going wrong. It could simply be part of a greater plan that is beyond your understanding. Holding on to the past can prevent you from moving forward. When you dwell on why someone left, you close yourself off to new possibilities. The more you focus on those who walked away, the less energy you have to appreciate those who are still with you. Instead of chasing after those who have left, focus on those who continue to stand by you. There are times when distance is a blessing in disguise. You may not see it immediately, but later, you realize that the loss of certain people saved you from unnecessary pain, drama, or distractions. Sometimes the Almighty removes people because they were preventing you from reaching your full potential. Their absence allows you to focus on what truly matters, helping you grow into a better version of yourself. It is important to trust that every change in your life happens for a reason. Even if it feels painful in the moment, there is wisdom behind it. The people who leave are not always a loss. Sometimes they are simply making space for something better. If you truly need someone in your life, they will remain. If they are meant to leave, no amount of effort will keep them close. Best thing you can do is accept the change and believe that whatever happens is ultimately for your own good. When people suddenly start ignoring you, the natural reaction is to feel hurt or confused. You may wonder why someone who once cared about you has now chosen to distance themselves. You might feel tempted to chase after them, to seek answers, or to try and restore the connection. But in reality, the more you chase after people, the more they pull away. Instead of focusing on those who ignore you, it is far more valuable to turn to the one who never does. People are inconsistent by nature. They change with time, circumstances, emotions, and external influences. Someone who was once close to you may become distant because their priorities have shifted. They may have found new friends, new interests, or simply lost interest in maintaining a relationship. When this happens, it is easy to feel unappreciated or forgotten. But no matter how much people change, the Almighty remains constant. His love, His mercy, and His presence in your life do not waver. Unlike people, He does not turn away when you need Him most. When someone ignores you, it is often a sign that they were not meant to be a permanent part of your journey. Instead of trying to force connections that are fading, redirect your focus to the one who is always there. No matter how many times you call upon Him, He listens. No matter how many mistakes you make, He continues to guide you. No matter how distant you may have felt, He welcomes you back without hesitation. People may ignore your messages, but your prayers are always heard. Chasing after people often leads to disappointment. You may pour your energy into someone who does not value your presence. You may seek closure from someone who has already moved on. You may exhaust yourself trying to understand their silence when, in reality, their silence is the answer. When you constantly seek validation from others, you give them control over your emotions. But when you turn to the Almighty, you place your trust in the one who knows what is best for you. Instead of running after people who ignore you, use that time to strengthen your connection with the one who never leaves. Reflect on your own spiritual state. Ask yourself if you have been prioritizing temporary relationships over your relationship with your Creator. Sometimes when people distance themselves from you, it is a reminder to turn back to the one who is most important. The world is full of distractions. Friendships, social circles, and human relationships can sometimes take up so much space in your heart that you forget the real purpose of your life. When someone stops giving you attention, it can feel like a void has been created. But that void can be filled with something far greater than human companionship. It can be filled with peace, contentment, and closeness to the Almighty. The love of people is conditional. They may appreciate you when you are useful to them, when you entertain them, or when you meet their expectations. But the moment you no longer serve their needs, they may walk away. In contrast, the love of the Almighty is unconditional. He does not turn away from you based on what you can offer. He is there for you in your lowest moments, in your weakest state, and even when you feel unworthy. Instead of feeling sorrow over those who ignore you, take it as an opportunity to build something stronger. Your faith, your inner peace, and your self-worth. People will always come and go, but your connection with the Almighty remains. The moment you shift your focus from worldly attachments to your spiritual well-being, you will find a new sense of stability. You will no longer feel the need to seek approval from those who are temporary when you have the approval of the one who is eternal. Letting go of those who ignore you does not mean holding on to resentment. It means understanding that not every connection is meant to last, and that is okay. It means realizing that your time and energy are better spent on things that bring you closer to peace and purpose. It means choosing to walk with dignity rather than begging for attention. When you stop chasing after people, you free yourself from the emotional exhaustion that comes with seeking validation. You begin to understand that your worth is not tied to how others treat you, but to how you carry yourself with faith and confidence. You recognize that the only relationship worth truly prioritizing is the one that brings you lasting fulfillment. And that relationship is not with those who ignore you, but the one who is always present, always listening, and always guiding you. Your value is not determined by how others treat you. It is easy to feel unworthy when people ignore you, forget you, or no longer show the same interest they once did. You may start doubting yourself, thinking that something is wrong with you or that you are not good enough. But the truth is, your worth is not in the hands of people. It is not based on their approval, their validation, or their attention. Your value is defined by something much greater, your connection with your Creator. People are inconsistent. They change their opinions, their emotions fluctuate, and their priorities shift. One day, they may praise you, and the next, they may forget you completely. If you attach your worth to how people treat you, you will always be at their mercy. You will constantly seek their approval, fear their rejection, and feel discouraged when they no longer acknowledge you. This is an exhausting way to live, because no matter how much you try, you will never be able to please everyone. The reality is that people's treatment of you says more about them than it does about you. Someone may ignore you not because you lack value, but because they are too distracted with their own life. They may stop appreciating you not because you are unworthy, but because they take things for granted. Their lack of attention does not mean you have lost your importance. It only means that they do not see it. And just because they do not see it does not mean it is not there. When you define your worth by your connection with your Creator, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of seeking validation from others. You begin to understand that you were created with purpose, that you have value simply because you exist, and that no one has the power to take that away from you. Your worth is constant, unshaken by people's opinions, and rooted in something far deeper than their temporary attention. Some of the greatest people in history were ignored, rejected, or belittled by those around them. They were looked down upon, mistreated, or cast aside. Yet their value remained unchanged. The way people treated them did not define them. What defined them was their faith, their perseverance, and their unwavering sense of purpose. If they had allowed people's opinions to dictate their worth, they would have never achieved anything meaningful. When you stop seeking validation from people, you start living with true confidence. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to those who do not appreciate you. You stop wasting energy on relationships that drain you. You let go of the pressure to be accepted by everyone and focus on becoming the best version of yourself. This is when you find real peace, because you are no longer dependent on others for happiness. People will come and go, but your relationship with your Creator is everlasting. He does not ignore you, forget you, or judge you based on temporary emotions. He does not value you based on superficial things like status, wealth, or popularity. He sees what is in your heart. He knows your struggles, your sincerity, and your intentions. No matter how others treat you, He remains constant in His love, mercy, and guidance. When you truly understand this, you stop lowering yourself to seek approval from those who do not see your worth. You no longer feel the need to chase friendships, beg for attention, or force connections that are not meant to be. You start prioritizing your peace, your faith, and your self-respect. You begin to focus on those who genuinely appreciate you, rather than those who take you for granted. This shift in mindset brings a deep sense of freedom. Instead of feeling disappointed when people ignore you, you accept that not everyone is meant to be part of your journey. Instead of feeling rejected, you recognize that their distance is a redirection towards something better. Instead of doubting yourself, you remind yourself that your value was never in their hands to begin with. Your worth is not something that can be given or taken away by others. It is not measured by their attention, their compliments, or their recognition. It is something intrinsic, something that exists regardless of how people treat you. The moment you stop looking for validation from others and start focusing on your own growth, your own faith, and your own purpose, you step into a life of true confidence and peace.